Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing The Sin Eater's Daughter, written by Melinda Salisbury. Here's the book. It's the first book in a trilogy. The trilogy is called The Sin Eater's Daughter Trilogy. I managed to get all 3 books from the library at once, and this is the first book, and it's the first time I've read this author. I thought this book was written very well plotted. There are many twists and surprises in this book. The characters are so well written. There's a great villain in this book as well. So I enjoyed this read very much, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was going to have a lot of romantic angles in this book, and there is a bit of romance in this story, but it doesn't overpower the whole story. And what makes this story is that villain, and also the main character, Twila, a very engaging character. I recommend this trilogy very much. The first book anyway. Our protagonist, Twila, is a very interesting character. In this book, she's living in the palace grounds, in the palace, with the royal family. But she's not a royal by birth. She was born the daughter of the Sin Eater. So in this story, Twila is the Sin Eater's daughter. What the Sin Eater is a woman who eats people's sins. So when people die, on their coffin is placed food, and different foods represent different sins. So Twila's mother, being the Sin Eater, is invited to the funerals and eats all the food. Then she's paid for it. Twila would have been the next Sin Eater if she hadn't gone to the palace. And the reason she's at the palace is now she's the betrothed of the prince. So the prince originally had a sister, and in the traditions of the royal family in this nation, the brother and the sister wed, because in the royal family, blood marries blood. It's happened for generation upon generation in the royal family. The prince's mother, the current queen, married her brother originally. Then her husband and her brother died, and so the queen's current husband is a first cousin, I think, but it's close enough to be blood marrying blood, but it's not the exact thing of the brother marrying the sister. And since the prince's sister died, they had to find the prince another bride, and the only way they could do that is by delving into superstitions and folklore and hunting for a girl. And they remembered Twila from a different incident, and Twila had the right colouring, the right hair colouring, eye colouring, the right look to tie in to the royal family and tie into some folklore and superstition. And they tell everybody that Twila is the living embodiment of this other great entity or other great person / god from history or something. So Twila is now in the royal family, in the palace, not married to the prince yet, but betrothed. But life isn't peachy for Twila. So if she was going to be a Sin Eater, she would have been detested by people, reviled, because nobody likes the Sin Eater. But in her new life in the palace, nobody likes her there either, for one very special and important reason. Her touch kills people. So being this living embodiment of this being from the past, her touch kills people, and every monthly cycle she's forced to ingest a potion, and this potion is a poison mixed with a drop of her blood. If Twila survives drinking this every month, then she's still blessed. If she dies, she's no longer blessed. So she has to survive every month drinking this potion, and it causes a lot of anxiety for Twila. Also, every month, if there's people accused of treason, she's the one who has to execute them by her touch. That also causes anxiety and fear and a lot of emotions for Twila, because she hates doing it. She hates being feared by everybody in the palace. The maids in the palace won't go near her. The guards that she has protecting her don't like her. There's one guard who stays with her, but other guards will just be there for a month or so and then want to change, want something else. So nobody in the palace really likes her or wants to be her friend or be close to her. That's very hard for Twila. So she leads a very sad existence in the palace. Also, the Queen. Now, the Queen is a great villain in this story. She rules with an iron fist. She's very superstitious, very religious, and she's very quick to call out people for treason, for very small things. For instance, in one scene in this story, there's a great feast. And it's a feast after hunting in the forest. In this part of the story, the prince is back as well. So the prince was away for 2 years, and now he's come back, and he's come back because soon he wants to marry Twila and get to know Twila a bit more before that. But at this banquet, the Queen and the prince are talking. Another guest at the banquet is talking at the same time. The Queen stops, accuses this person of treason for interrupting her discussion with the prince, and this person is put to death. So that gives you an idea of just how tyrannical the Queen is in this story. She's not a nice person, not very stable, but there's other things going on with the Queen as well in this book. Before we get to the next part about the Queen, let's talk about the new guard called Leaf. Now, Leaf is a new guard for Twila in the palace, and he's very different to other guards in the palace. He's not afraid to say negative things about the Queen and the royal family in general, and he's encouraging Twila to question what's going on in the palace, question all the things she's told about herself and about life in the palace in general. And that's quite dangerous because Twila now is starting to learn different things about herself. She's learning about things that were told to her. Some things were lies, some things were truths, and she's learning that she can't trust people that she thought she could trust previously. Leaf is opening up Twila's eyes to the truth. And what does this mean for Twila? Adding to this, there's a bit of romance happening between Twila and Leaf. He's very different to everybody else in the palace. He's not afraid to be close to her. And so there's a budding romance happening between them both. And this just opens up a lot of danger for them both as well, because bearing in mind Twila is betrothed to the prince. If anybody else found out about this romance between Twila and Leaf, they'd both be accused and found guilty of treason. The last important thing about this story is, again, the Queen. Now remember, in the royal family for many generations, blood marries blood. And the Queen being married to her first cousin, even though they're related, the Queen doesn't think it's close enough, not a close enough tie. What does that mean in this story? The only person close enough would be her own son, the prince. Does that mean the Queen wants to marry the prince? You get hints about this as the story goes on. And does this create danger for Twila as well in this story? Because Twila is currently betrothed to the prince. So in this story, we have many things going on. We've got intrigue, suspense, tension. We've got a lot of twists and turns going on as well. We've got different players wanting different things. They've got different motives. We've got a great villain in the Queen, and she's so well written in this book. And Twila, as a main protagonist, is so well written as well. They're both very, very strong characters in this book. And they seem to be on opposing sides of a battle of wills that's going on in the palace. This is a very, very interesting first book in a trilogy. Twila, our main protagonist in this story, very, very well written. She anchors this story a lot. And she has to, being the main character in the book. Her character growth is written so well, and you get to feel everything she feels and see everything she sees. The author wrote Twila and injected Twila into this story so cleverly. She's used to the full extent that the author can use her, in my opinion. And she's so engaging, so endearing. But she's also so strong as well. As her character growth continues in this book, we get to see her strength, her inner strength come out more and more in this story. And you get behind her. You really get behind Twila in this book and want the best for her. Shows she's a character that really grips the reader in this story. Leaf is a very interesting character. He's very complex, and he has many facets to him as well. I think the author was very clever in giving us bits of Leaf as the story goes on. You see him as a bit of a rebel at the start. He likes creating chaos and encourages Twila to do the same. And as the story goes on, you learn more about Leaf and about his motives, his different motives in the book. A very, very well written character, and the author used him very cleverly in this whole story. The Queen. You have to mention the Queen in this video about this book. She is almost the perfect villain. Every scene with the Queen in it, you're not sure what's going to happen. She can do anything. The snap decision to call someone out for treason, to have someone executed. You never know if she's going to be nice or nasty. She's so tyrannical, and you just see her insanity in a way in this book as well. She's not a sane person, but she doesn't think about herself in that way. She thinks she's the sanest person in the whole nation. That's what she thinks. And she thinks that everything she does is for the betterment of her nation or her people that she's ruling. You get the impression that she thinks that she can do no wrong, and that makes her a very dangerous villain indeed. And she's used so cleverly in this book. She's so engaging as well as a villain. You don't want to like her in this story, but you can't help by being engaged by the character in this book. The Sin Eater's Daughter is a great first book in a trilogy, and I wasn't sure how to feel about this book when I started reading it. I knew nothing about it, but it hooked me very early on from those first pages. It hooked me into this story. That's because of Twila, the main character. Also the Queen, that villain character, hooks you into the story as well. They're both very engaging characters. I rate this a 4 out of 5. It's a great first book. It's a great book for a young adult book. I didn't think of it as a young adult book as I was reading it. There's little bits here and there that you think, okay, maybe it's skewed towards a young adult audience, some of the language, the way it's written, but the overall story seems so complex, so rich and vibrant, and some of the things that go on in this story make you think that it's not solely written for young adults. On my channel, I do review other fantasy books, and I'll be making videos about them and the rest of the books in this trilogy. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a fantasy playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.